Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Welcome to Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability. Today I'm very honored to have a guest with me who's a journalist as well and has been working in the auto industry, journalism and PR and all kinds of stuff. Michael Coates, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And you've been on the road for a few days, so thank you for an extra special thank you for making it here. I know you're tired. Yeah, I got a lot going on.
There is a lot happening in the state of California, yes.
There's a lot in the auto industry, which I'm very honored that you're here. But before we talk about Clean Fleet Report and the Western Automotive Journalists, let's talk about you and what you've done with your amazing career. And are you from here originally, California?
I'm a Pacific Northwest boy originally. Okay. Moved down to California for college and have pretty much stuck here. Got started.
Where in college?
Graduated from Cal State Fullerton.
Oh,
so
okay.
Good Cal State grad.
Okay.
Good state college.
And what did you graduate in?
Oh dear. Actually graduated in comparative literature.
Okay.
Then got an elementary teaching credential.
Wow. And
then decided I would rather be a journalist.
I just learned something new. And I thought it was engineering too, but
no.
No, okay. So
I play an engineer sometimes.
You were a teacher. That's interesting.
Well, I found out that I really wasn't cut out for teaching. So I literally answered an ad in the LA Times that was looking for startup journalists and ended up going up to Canada as a writer and photographer for a news magazine.
And what kind of magazine was it?
It was news magazine. So it was a weekly news magazine.
In Canada?
Kind of like, it was like Time magazine or Newsweek, except it was local.
And so it was cold.
And it was 60 inches of snow on the ground when I landed there in January.
Wow.
So coming from Southern California, that was quite a transition. But it was a great job because I really got to learn on the job, writing news stories, taking photos, and it was just a wonderful introduction. Actually started working with the Canadian Broadcasting Company a little bit up there as well.
And you have a family? You're married?
I'm married with a daughter who's just about to graduate from graduate school. So
awesome.
Great fun.
And did you guys meet in college?
No, we met long after when I was a magazine editor and she was doing public relations for one of the auto companies.
And you did public relations as well, right?
I transitioned after working for quite a while in both traditional journalism and automotive journalism, which are two kind of different segments. I was recruited to go into public relations, working for some of the auto companies. And so I've worked, kind of left journalism at that point, started working, doing public relations, kind of on the other side of the fence.
And people can go on LinkedIn and see your extensive background as well, right?
It's in great detail.
So, Clean Fleet Report, am I getting that right?
Yeah, and so I came back, just give you a short little transition. A business partner and I founded our own public relations company in 2003, so about 13 years ago, focusing on environmental automotive public relations and government relations work. And so we've been working with auto companies and suppliers in that field. And then more recently, in the last 5 years or so, I got back into writing again and now have my own website, also publish with different websites and magazines as well.
It's interesting. I was just reading how the National Resource Defense Council started, and Ford was actually their big funder that started it, which is amazing. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. So then you got into the Clean Fleet.
Yeah, so I've taken over this website called Clean Fleet Report, and it's a little bit of a misnomer because it sounds like it's about fleets, but it's really, most of our traffic comes from organic search. So it's people who are coming for our content, which is primarily reviews of electric cars, plug-in cars,
Well, you just wrote something on like the
clean
14th
diesels.
of this month or 15th, right? So are you publishing on there all the time? Or?
Yeah, we published I think 62 stories last year, all written by
And there's a bunch of them
myself and
already
staff.
this year.
Yep.
And there's what, 10 people or?
We have the core staff is myself and 2 other automotive journalists, and then we get some contributions in from other folks as well.
Let's pull up the slide with the clean fleet as well, the first one. So it says on the site, covered on the site, top 10s, electric cars, plug-in hybrids, hybrid cars, clean diesel, MPG, mile per gallon, am I getting that
Yes,
right?
yep.
And then test drive, and is that AWD for all-wheel?
All-wheel drive.
Okay.
Which
so
is interesting. People, there's a couple things that really bring a lot of people to the site. One is writing about electric vehicles.
Well, before we go there,
let's
talk about on the
Sure.
slide there. What is that there? You
Oh,
gave us that,
yes.
You gave us that photo, so tell us about the slide.
That's the newest Tesla. That's the Model X. You see its classic falcon wing doors
Yes,
there.
I love it.
It just launched last year. They have delivered like the first 200, 300 of them. And it's an exciting car. It's expanding the Tesla model range.
Did you get a test drive it yet?
I have not been in it yet. Tesla doesn't work well with the media
They don't
right
really
now. They
let
don't,
us in very
they
much,
don't
right?
promote it.
Yeah.
Promote themselves.
Because they're kind of sold out ahead of time, and they don't really need.
Well, that may or may not be changing, but it's
Okay.
but they have a different relationship with the media that the other auto companies do. But they're building great cars, and have had a lot of success so far.
So we'll have to work on getting a test drive.
Yes,
on that
absolutely.
Together. So back to the clean fleet, the all-wheel drive, and yeah.
Yeah, so people typically are coming to the site looking for our reviews of electric cars. I mean, the most popular page is the top 10 electric cars, which we refresh that on a regular basis to keep it so it's up to date. But also people are interested in high mileage vehicles, and particularly in all-wheel drive vehicles.
So what do you mean by high mileage?
High fuel,
So
good,
they get
good
32
fuel economy.
per gallon or 40 per gallon?
We look for a sedan. We're looking at least 40 miles per gallon.
Okay.
For an all-wheel drive, at least 30 miles per gallon.
Okay.
And interestingly, the population of vehicles that meet that is just growing exponentially. But yeah, a lot of people are looking, and I take it's what people are looking for. They're looking for not just electric vehicles or really environmentally conscious vehicles, but also something that they can do what they need to do.
They can
with.
go from
Yeah.
A to B, and it's
Right.
not going to cost them as much.
Right.
And of course, gas has gone down a little bit, so that's another whole ball of wax there. So what's your area then, or do you cover pretty much everything that's on that list?
Yeah. That's the laundry list and more too. We've started looking at areas like green motorsports because there's more and more environmental. It's like Formula One vehicles are now hybrid vehicles. There's a lot of advanced technology that's coming into the auto industry across the board.
And is that like pretty full time for you then?
It feels like it sometimes. I split my time between my public relations business and the writing, and do try and keep them as two separate entities as well.
And so you were just gone for a few days. Were you writing or?
No, this was the public relations work over in Sacramento, talking with some of the regulators and the NGO community over there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Western Automotive Journalists, tell us about that, and let me pull up the slide for that really quick as well too. So this was an event that I got to join. Somebody sent me the information and I contacted you last fall, and it was a great event. And what is this event called now?
It's called Silicon Valley Reinvents the Wheel.
And it was something else later, but we'll talk about that later. So let's pull that down. That's one of many events that you guys do. Tell us about that and how many people are in the group. And
Well, yeah, Western Automotive Journalists formed 1994, so quite a while ago, 20-some years.
yeah.
And it's a San Francisco area, Bay Area based organization. And some of the automotive journalists in the area, at that time it was primarily newspaper journalists who were writing test reviews of vehicles every week, got together and formed the organization just to, to hold events once a year, go to the track and have a big event there. We've started this Silicon Valley Reinvents the Wheel to focus a little more on kind of our local technology that's being developed here in the Silicon Valley.
And there's a lot of it. How do you find the journalists for this? Or they, like me, do they find you?
It works both ways, yeah. A lot of people have just been able to find the group. We see a lot of our colleagues at press events that automakers put on and tell them about our group, and have got a lot of new members from that as well.
And is it a nonprofit?
It is a nonprofit. It's a 501c6, so it's a nonprofit professional organization.
Okay. Yeah, there's a C6, C4,
yeah,
C5, whatever.
Yeah, it's not a
C3.
501c3,
Yeah.
which means we can take donations. They're not tax deductible. So.
And the C3 too is also you can't have any political affiliations. So.
Right. Which we don't.
One of my clubs is that. I'm going to pull up the next slide too. So the Silicon Valley Reinvents automobile, right? Or Reinvents the Wheel.
Yeah.
This was the one in October. So it's networking, industry leaders, R&D labs, zero emission showcase. That was really fun. Mm-hmm. The hydrogen Toyota vehicle was there. We can pull that down. About how many people come to that? It's pretty big.
Yeah, we had about 150 people there for that event, and it was a good cross section of people. There were journalists there, some of WAJ members as well as other journalists from the area. A lot of folks from the automakers and suppliers labs here in Silicon Valley, plus people that are just interested in the technology and want to learn more about it.
I met the gentleman that's the CEO of Renovo, which the Silicon Valley Electric Vehicle Entrepreneurs Group. They were going to be meeting with some other groups and meeting up in Redwood City like the next weekend, but he wasn't going to be there, and he was there, and I got to talk to him about what he's doing.
Right.
So there was a lot of people who are inventors, and it was really great. And then there's probably 20 R&D labs now or more?
There's at least 20. When you look at virtually every auto company, all of the top suppliers, some of the mid-level suppliers, chip makers like NVIDIA, and they're all deeply involved in the auto industry. They are literally changing the auto industry every day. It's the technology that's being developed here in Silicon Valley is changing our cars.
And so I have here Future Cars, Future Technology. That's basically the same program?
That's what we started out.
Okay.
The Western Automotive Journalists started doing Future Cars, Future Technology program. And it's kind of morphed into the Silicon Valley Reinvents the Wheel, because we realized what we had here in Silicon Valley was just a treasure trove of technology that we
battery companies and anything you can think of, right?
really wanted to focus on, yes.
I'm going to pull up the next slide, which I believe is going to be one of the cars. Yeah, two of the cars. Tell us about these.
Oh, these are two ends of the spectrum, but on the lower left is the new Prius, just introduced, the 2016 Prius. A little bit better fuel economy, a lot better looking in some people's minds, more aggressive styling, better performance.
It does look really good. It doesn't look like the Prius.
I just got a chance to drive it this past week. It's lower and wider, so you really can feel it drives better than the old Prius.
How's visibility over your shoulder?
Visibility is very, very good. There's a lot of glass area in there, and again, it still gets over 50 miles per gallon, so it's
awesome.
Still a classic Prius.
And again, that's a hybrid. It kicks in from gas to
That is a
electric.
hybrid, yeah. All you do is fill it up with gasoline, but it's a very efficient gasoline vehicle.
And does it have that turn off feature too when you're idling? It's very quiet.
Yeah,
it'll
shut.
You think that you have to turn it back on, but it's just idling.
It'll shut down. The minute you lift your foot off the brake, it will start back up.
And the right side there, what's this?
The right side is kind of a different end of the spectrum. That's a BMW i8. That's what I would call an eco supercar.
Okay.
It's well over $100,000. It also is a hybrid, but it's a plug-in hybrid. So you can plug it in overnight. It'll run 20, 25 miles on pure electricity.
So let's pull that down. So it's not, instead of the Prius, which is self-charging,
Yeah.
you plug this one in.
Yeah, you plug this one in. I mean, it can charge as well while you're going, but it's a real high performance car. It's a BMW in every sense of the word.
Did you get to test drive that yet?
Yes, I did get to test drive that one.
Is that the one that you took around the city?
No, I actually drove that down at our event down in Monterey,
Okay.
and it was, but just an
So last year?
incredible, yes,
Last year,
very,
okay.
very.
So is that going to
amazing
be at the
vehicle.
event this year?
I don't know if they're bringing one.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed.
The automakers, what they do is they like to bring whatever's new and fresh, and get us to try things that we might not have seen before. There's every year. Last year it was the first time that the Honda HR-V, their smallest SUV, was shown. So I got a chance to drive that literally before it was even on the market.
So the next question's not really a question, it's just something that I'm going to tell people about. I was at the Green Vision San Jose, which is part of the Bay Area Air Quality Management District Board. Every quarter they meet with the city of San Jose and different businesses and people, and I've been helping out with that for several years. But they have a new list, and let's pull up the next slide, because on the next slide is a link. Actually, no, it's not on this one. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's a link on one of the next ones that'll show rebates that's coming up, and we could pull that slide back up. Let's just go ahead and pull that back up. Let's talk about these cars.
Yeah, let's talk about these. These are two fascinating new cars. The lower left again is a Toyota Mirai. It's a fuel cell car. It's on the market right now.
So this is the one we got to see at your event, but it was
Yes.
in white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But these, you can actually buy one now. It runs on hydrogen, which it creates, as opposed to an electric vehicle, which you plug in and runs off of the battery. A fuel cell vehicle.
And again, for people who can't see us right now, we're talking about the one on the left.
Right, the lower left.
And there's about, a dozen stations now coming to the Bay Area for fuel cell?
Yeah, there will be. There's a
Okay.
lot of stations in progress. I think there's about 17 across the whole state right now.
Okay.
By the end of next year, there should be 60, 65 of them available.
So this runs on hydrogen. and
Hydrogen,
it's-
you put hydrogen in the tank, and the fuel cell creates electricity by running the hydrogen across a membrane for a.
So now, I heard that they were already sold out for this year. That's
They have had
their orders were already sold out, and then. So my question would be, if you're buying it, where are you getting it fueled? Like you
Yeah.
have to go to Toyota and get it?
No, there are stations, several stations around the Bay Area. But that's one part of the process of when you buy it. They will walk you through where the stations are, go through the refueling process. It's only slightly different than filling up a gas tank.
And then the top one, what is the top one?
The top one is not on the market yet. It will be later this summer. That is the Chrysler Pacifica. It's a plug-in hybrid minivan. First time a minivan has had a plug.
Plug-in hybrid minivan. Let's pull that down now
Yeah.
too. So did you get to drive that one yet?
No, that's not. They don't even, other than the ones they showed at the auto. That was from the Detroit Auto Show. And
Okay.
Other than the ones they showed off there, that I don't think they've been out in public yet.
So we won't get to see that until the summer,
But
probably.
yeah, they said they would have it in production by the summer, and it's a real challenge because it's the first time they've gone into the minivan segment with a real environmental car like that.
Let's pull up another slide. I think I just got the 10-minute marker. What is this one? This is beautiful.
That's the Acura NSX. That's also just on the market. I've not had a chance to drive it, and I'm very upset that I haven't.
We can pull that one down.
That will be up out at the track in our event next month.
Awesome. And did you get to see that in Detroit as well?
I've seen that in Detroit.
So you didn't get to drive it in Detroit?
No.
But you got to see it.
I saw it, and it's a beautiful, another eco super car.
And so this is a plug-in too, you said?
Yes. I take that back. It's a hybrid like the Prius. So you just filled up with gas, but it's very efficient and very powerful.
So we already talked about there's 20 labs or more in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Jaguar and Land Rover are the only ones that aren't here, right? They're up in Portland, or they're building
they're
their
up in Portland.
one.
Yep.
And they'll probably be at your event as well coming up.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So of the things that you've been seeing, because you've gone to Detroit, what's the most exciting technology that you've seen lately?
You know, it's really hard to choose, but I honestly, the the fuel cell technology to me is some of the most exciting things that are happening, because it's a real change. It's taking everything that works in an automobile, all the functionality, and creating a zero emission vehicle, a vehicle that has water coming out of the tailpipe. So there's no
and
no
it's kind of
pollution.
been procrastinated a little bit. We actually went, I think, 2 summers ago to the Mercedes R&D lab, and we filmed with kids with hydrogen in Santa Cruz. And they were going to do a tour around the state, but they were going to take a different car at each place because they didn't have the places to charge it. And then they were going to go to Governor Brown and then make it back here at the Tech Museum. So that's been an interesting, they kept saying, oh, it's going to be 2013, it's 2015. And so finally now, 2016, it's coming out.
They're now two on the market. Well, and actually the Mercedes has been on the market, but it's been much quieter than the new Toyota, very low volume, just tens of vehicles.
Let's pull up another slide too. I think we're really behind. And so we've got, this is the one with at the bottom, this is the grant program. So if you're buying, and it's different levels, and there's a spreadsheet. If you go there, there's a spreadsheet that shows, if you're buying a Prius, at this year, it's going to be this amount, you get the rebate. And so it was really interesting, especially since I need to probably get a new car this year. And I'm thinking hybrid. So what do we see here? We've got the Chevy.
That's the Chevy Bolt.
Okay.
Bolt with
not Volt, B.
Yeah, not
okay.
Volt with a V. The Volt with a V is a plug-in hybrid. The Bolt with a B is a full electric vehicle. It's going to be on the market this year, 200-mile range, and a $35,000 price tag. So it's really an affordable, really close to just like a gasoline car in terms of its capabilities.
So what's been the biggest challenge for you? And then how have you made that into an opportunity? And then also, what's been your biggest win? I'm kind of throwing a bunch of questions out there because we only have a little bit of time left. So, as far as the journalist, it could be personal too, that you had a daughter. So that was wonderful. No challenge, no more challenge than anybody raising a kid, I think. But that could be your biggest win too.
I would say that's my biggest win. We're very proud of her. In terms of challenge, to me, I think getting back into the journalist mode again has been challenging for me, finding the time to do it. I love it, and I make the time to do it, but it's just challenging to do that and to keep a full business on the side as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting challenge. I'm going to pull up another slide here because we got about 5 minutes left. So
okay,
I
do want to go back to the rebates.
Let's pull that slide down too.
The rebates.
Yeah.
Because it's great that there's a local rebate. The big rebates are on the federal government. There's a tax credit, so obviously you have to have income to use it. But it's a $7,500 tax credit for buying a full electric vehicle or a plug-in hybrid vehicle. So it has to be a plug-in, not
so you have to have a certain level of income to get that tax credit.
Right. Yeah, to make it work. The state of California also has rebates. $5,000, and this is just cash for buying or leasing a new vehicle. $5,000 for a fuel cell vehicle, $2,500 for a full battery electric, and $1,500 for a plug-in hybrid.
And that's rebates, not...
Those are straight rebates. You can get them right at the dealership. Just sign some paperwork, and so that's for a full battery electric vehicle, that can be $10,000 off the retail price.
So I know we've only got probably like 3 minutes left. Let's pull up that last slide. And I think, was that the Fiat? No.
That's the Mitsubishi i-MiEV, which is one of the many electric vehicles on the market. There's, it's funny, when I started doing the top 10 electric vehicles on Clean Fleet Report, it was hard to find 10 electric vehicles. Now there's
dozens.
There's plenty to choose from.
Let's pull up another one. I think we've got at least 3 more. So we look at this one. The bottom one is diesel, right?
The top one is diesel, actually.
One, okay.
Yeah, so let's start at the top there. That's a Volkswagen Golf.
Okay.
As most people will know, there's been more than a little challenge with VWs and their diesel vehicles. The main point I would like to make is that it's not really a diesel issue. Diesel technology works fine. It's very clean. It was a software issue where they had changed the software so that it was not as clean as it should have been. So that's it. I love diesel vehicles. They're wonderful
Diesels
vehicles.
are pretty cool.
Yeah. The bottom left is the Ford F-150 pickup. That's the best-selling vehicle in the United States.
But
Ford,
it's not a clean vehicle, right?
it is very clean.
Okay.
And very lightweight. What Ford's doing with this is they've converted it so it's all aluminum body. So they've gained like 700 pounds, taken 700 pounds off of it to get better fuel economy.
So it's lighter.
So it's revolutionary in that sense, and it's still selling very well, and it's an exciting vehicle as well.
So we have 2 minutes left.
Sure.
So in the 2 minutes, any final thoughts or anything that we didn't get to that you'd like to? What would you like to leave the audience with about either of the groups that you're working with?
Actually, I think what might be most interesting is just some real basic consumer advice. Is that when you go out looking for a new vehicle or even a used vehicle, realize that there are an incredible variety of choices out there. There are full battery electric vehicles, there are fuel cell vehicles, there are plug-in hybrids, there are hybrids, there are high mileage gasoline vehicles, there are clean diesel vehicles. There is a great variety of vehicles that you can choose from, and you can virtually always find something that's going to give you better fuel economy and save you money in the long run.
Well, and hopefully, I'm going to just do a little plug right now. I've got 1 minute left for Earth Day, which is actually not on Earth Day. The city of Cupertino on April 30th, they like to bring clean vehicles out, and so hopefully you'll be there with us and you can answer questions for people and some other people. So hopefully we'll see people at Earth Day. We'll have a booth there. And thank you for coming on the show. I'm getting the hook. So to the listeners, thank you for joining us today. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and of course www.svtags.org. And make this a great Tags Week by conserving, reusing, and rethinking the way that you choose to live here in Silicon Valley and beyond. Thank you. Thanks.
Great. Thank you.